Now to the civil society organization Oxfam International.
Thank you very much, Chair and distinguished delegates. My name is Rebecca Ridel, and I'm here on behalf of Oxfam, a global organization working in over 80 countries to fight inequality, to end poverty and injustice. We want to first recognize the efforts of Global South countries and the leadership of the Africa Group in particular in leading us to this historic moment today. As civil society, we're committed to supporting this process and eager to see it deliver a fair, inclusive, and transparent international tax system, one that can meaningfully tackle inequalities and support the realization of human rights. We're especially delighted to contribute to today's conversation regarding the taxation of high net worth individuals. We welcome the remarks from delegates connecting this with inequality, and I'll offer 3 short points. First, our world is in the grips of an extraordinary inequality crisis. Inequality has risen in most countries in the world in recent decades. Since 2020, while a pandemic has contributed to a global cost of living crisis that's made life much harder for many, the very richest have thrived. Billionaire wealth overall is up by over $3 trillion. We're essentially living through a second Gilded Age with really unimaginable concentrations of extreme wealth at the very top. And such severe inequality can, of course, harm poverty reduction, fuel the climate crisis, and undermine democracy. Second, this extraordinary inequality crisis is in many ways the result of a rigged tax system that allows the very wealthy to get away without paying their fair share. It's the result of too many laws and too many policies that were designed not to tackle inequality, but rather to facilitate the accumulation and retention of the wealth by a very small elite. We see in country after country, the very richest individuals actually now pay lower tax rates than ordinary families, even as little as 2% of their income. Taxes on the very wealthy have effectively collapsed in recent decades. And globally, looking at wealth, research shows billionaires pay a tax rate equivalent to between 0 and 0.5% of their wealth. At the same time, communities and countries around the world are deprived of the resources they need to tackle poverty and inequality and to provide the fundamental services that are required for everyone to thrive. This also deepens an unjust global debt crisis and contributes to harmful rounds of austerity. Make no mistake, every tax dollar that's dodged by a billionaire could have gone to buy a textbook for a child, pay a nurse, or help ensure a family had enough to eat. Such extreme wealth and extreme hardship are 2 sides of the same coin, one minted by an unjust tax system that enables the very well-off to avoid paying what they owe. Third, and finally, we need international tax cooperation to tax the very wealthy. In fact, no country can tackle this problem alone. There are a litany of approaches, certainly existing and proposed, designed to ensure that the very wealthiest finally pay their fair share. These include proposals to tax income and proposals to tax wealth, which would ensure that the absolute richest, for example, the top 1% in every country, pay significantly more than ordinary people. The process we're embarking on here holds great promise for advancing efforts to tax the richest. Countries ought to have support in building tax systems that reduce inequality and raise revenue from the very wealthy. International cooperation is also critical to strengthening any one country's domestic efforts to tax the rich. Such cooperation can and should complement progress to stop illicit financial flows. In closing, we believe the Framework Convention should support the establishment of more progressive tax systems that reduce inequality by taxing high net worth individuals. We therefore urge this issue be reflected in the terms of reference that result from this committee's process. Thank you, Chair and delegates, for your time.